Hello Reds, welcome along to All for United.
Hello and welcome to All for United with me, John Foster, MUFC. Very loads of stuff to talk about tonight. I just want to firstly say thank you to everybody who joined us on the Sunday/Monday show. I hope you enjoyed what you saw with us being at Lee Sports Village. Well, next door to Lee Sports Village, but we did have a little tour around there as well. We also went to the pub to watch the match together, and it was good to get back together, wasn't it, Natalie?
Yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it. It felt like match day. I saw a journalist who we've had on, Adam. His name, and he was just like, "Hiya, Nat," and I was like, "Oh, hiya." It's just like normal and seeing faces. I mean, me and you, John, we haven't seen each other really since March, have we? So
yeah.
You know, I've seen Matt around, but you know, it's really a big one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Look, Lauren James, LJ, Ice Queen, Uncut Diamond. Things have been said, haven't they, today? Obviously, fans talk. There's been a few rumours here, there, and everywhere. But today is the first day that it's come out in the media, so we're going to be discussing that. We're going to be discussing the blackout that's going on over the weekend. We're going to be doing the Bristol preview. And also, just some fans asking some questions on Twitter. We thought this would be a good opportunity to hear what everyone's got to say. But before we do all that, Namrata, welcome to the show for your first time. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, John, for having me.
No problem. If anybody's watching this who doesn't know Namrata, first of all, where have you been for the last 12, 24 months? Obviously not on Twitter. I've actually got cans of lager today. I'm this excited. Usually I'm on the orange juice on these shows. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. And Namrata, thank you very much for coming on. Loads of people in the comments already. I've lost track already, so I'll try and come to you guys very soon. But yeah, great to see Ben and Mark in there and the usual crowd as well.
Yeah.
Namrata, first things first, let's just introduce you a little bit more then. So obviously you're a women's football fan, you're a Man United fan. I can see you got the shirt on there. How long have you supported Man United women's team? Has it been from the beginning?
Actually, I did not watch United back in Championship. I just started watching them from the first season in WSL. But I've been watching United men's team since about 16, 17 years now. So I think I kind of remember I think I watched the first match against Aston Villa. I think there was a stream somewhere, but because we were winning like 12-0 or something, I thought it's just something, it's not really that great. So I did not turn up. Then I saw the World Cup and I kind of got hooked, and here we are.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. 12-0, we talk about this every day and again. It comes up in conversation, Natalie, and it still wasn't good enough for Casey, was it? That opening game of the season, we did 12-0.
That's when I knew Casey was special, because I remember speaking to her after the game and I was buzzing. I was like, oh, 12-0. I mean, I didn't realise the difference between part-time and full-time then. I just thought it was all full-time, because obviously that's what you think of football. Yeah. But I was like, buzzing, Gaffer, we just won 12-0. And she was like, no, I'm not happy. And I'm like, ooh. I was like, what you... I just kicked off her. Not kicked off, but I sort of went to her, what do you mean you're not happy? And she was like, oh, you know, this and that. We should have done this. We should have done that. And I thought, yo, you are cool manager. I like that. Always wants more. That's when I knew she was special, I suppose.
Yeah, and that's exactly right, isn't it? Yeah, and look, we'll probably do some sort of Casey Stoney show at the end of the season where we can dominate the whole show on her. But I think today belongs to a few different things. First of all, what came out of the Daily Mail today. So I'm going to find it. But for those of you who don't actually know what we're on about, it's come out today from a journalist, I think called Ian somebody. I'll find it out in a second. That Chelsea are in for LJ, and it looks like it's proper news. Whether or not it's actually going to happen is another thing, but it doesn't look like fake news. It looks like there's probably some meat behind it, and also Leon as well. So I'm just going to, I don't usually read off my phone because I like to look at the screen, but I do just want to try and read some of this if we can find it. I know Natalie was the first one to tell me, so I've got a link on my phone somewhere. Here we are. So Chelsea women are plotting a move for Manchester United teenager Lauren James, sister of men's star Reece, with Leon also in the hunt for the talented forward. And it's by Ian Herbert for the Mail Online. So just the first couple of paragraphs. Chelsea head into this weekend's Champions League semi-final second leg against Bayern Munich with plans to strengthen their squad further, having made Manchester United's promising teenager Lauren James a possible target. A move to the Kings Meadow would see the 19-year-old unite with her brother Reece, who plays for the men's side. Now, obviously, we don't need to go into too much detail about what we've heard in the past, because obviously there's always rumblings around, there's always stuff that you hear on Twitter and here, there and everywhere. But Nat, obviously, I'll start off with yourself. There's probably some meat behind it. Obviously, LJ is one of the best young players in the country. She's English. She's still learning a trade. We all respect her. We all wax lyrical over her. We have done from the very first season. She'd be a great addition to any squad. You can see why Chelsea would want her. Obviously, LJ was brought up down there, obviously coming from the Arsenal side. You can see that there could be some interest there in both parties, but that's what are your thoughts on this?
My thoughts are, I've seen someone say it up before, and it was young 19-year-old. I mean, you saw how happy she was when she went down to London, was with her sister. She got a younger sister. Obviously, her and Reece are very close. The first year, Reece was at every game because he was in Wigan. So Reece used to come with the dad to every game, if they didn't clash. And then she used to go to every Wigan game to watch him. I know that she used to go to Chelsea, go down to London, just before the pandemic, and it all kicked off. So she was at Stamford Bridge regularly watching him. But as well, her dad did used to travel up, but obviously she probably didn't see Reece as much. Pandemic's hit. It's hit everyone. No one can go anywhere. No one can see anyone. You've got to stay indoors. You've got to do all this kind of thing. And I just think, I see Mark saying exchange Lauren for Reece. Listen, if you lose Lauren's the best player, and it'll be devastating. But if she's sick, if she's homesick and wants to leave, I mean, Casey sort of said, and then we've sort of said it, John, as well, this could be an impact as well. She is wanting to play for England, and if there's something in that article that says she's now looking at Jamaica because she's eligible because England snubbed her, and I'm thinking, England snubbed? Why did they snub her? Why did England snub her? Is it because Man United aren't up there as a top team, where you're seeing people like Niamh Charles, who plays like 2 games and gets in the England team like that? Is there something about the team that you play for and you get in? And is it because we're just still young team learning that we're not getting in? I don't know what it is. I'd be really disappointed. I don't think she'd get as much game time as she wants. But then we've seen, doesn't matter because she'd be playing for Chelsea. They're looking at winning a quadruple. Yeah, we're not on that level, but I think this is a consequence of not getting the Champions League. We're seeing recently as well, there's talk of Bunny Shaw, striker that we've talked of, that we had a journalist from Jamaica on who said that they've been out and scouted her. So there was interest there, but she really wanted Champions League football. And I think Casey talked about it yesterday. She said, we're going to have a smaller budget now. I think she even named a figure. It was 3,000 something or 300,000 something. And that's in the women's game. That is like 2 or 3 players. That's like a world-class player. You know what I'm saying? In the women's team, you buy a world-class player for that much. So if you're losing that much money, it's obviously going to have an impact. Obviously, you want new contracts for people. LJ's coming, I think she's got a year or so left. So, she'd want even more money than what she's on now. But it is what it is. It'd be heartbreaking. I mean, I think we've all watched LJ. She's our diamond, our queen, our everything. And, it'd be devastating. But it is what it is. And you just have to move with it and hope that they can keep other players. I wouldn't want to lose LJ and lose Tobin and lose Kristen. That would be like a really negative. But I don't know. We're going to have to see. I mean, maybe that's why she's linking us to Baltimore.
Yeah. Well, this is what I was going to say. There's people in the comments saying, who we're being linked to. But if Preston Heath don't stay, if LJ goes, Jane Ross is towards the end of her career. Jess hasn't had that much game time this season. You've got 5 players there who potentially who might have a different future next season. I don't want it, but potentially that could happen. That's a massive reshuffle, isn't it? Okay, we had Fuso come in last season, or at the start of this season, and Russo, but you can't expect those two just to, do everything themselves. They're still young, aren't they? And I know Casey said herself that she's after, and thanks Emma Sanders for quoting this, something along the lines of, Casey's after experienced players this time. Obviously, she wouldn't name names of anything. But let me just bring Namrata in regarding LJ. Not that you're a fan of LJ, but what are your thoughts on this news today?
I think I heard this a few months back, and when I heard that, I think I was actually quite shocked, and I was hurt. And my immediate reaction was that we're going to be a much worse team if she leaves us, because whenever I see Lauren play for us, she's basically magic, right? She's a young player who has loads of potential, and I'm pretty sure that if she lives up to that, she will be a future Ballon d'Or winner. But I think if you look at the last year for her, she was injured before the pandemic, and since then she's basically been consistently injured. She's away from home. She's a 19-year-old kid who's living away from home. And, you kind of get yourself into that mental shape that I want to come back from injury. You come back, you play for a couple of games, you score that goal against Chelsea, and then you're injured again. You come back, you're injured again. And so I think injuries haven't really helped our cause. If it's obviously going to be really bad for us if she leaves. She's the history maker. She has had so many firsts with us, first goal in Championship, FA Cup, WSL, Old Trafford. So she's like that iconic player that we have. And as about going to Chelsea, I think, if she wants to stay with her family, she has to probably go to a London club. And she's definitely too good for clubs like Spurs or West Ham. So ideally, it's just Arsenal or Chelsea. So it makes sense for her to go to a club where her brother is already playing. So I kind of understand that. I'm not really sure it is the best move for her career at this stage, because she probably will not get that much playing time at Chelsea. I'm not sure Chelsea really need her. Does she even fit into their style of play? One thing maybe which could help out with her is because Chelsea have such a deep bench. So there's no hurry for them to bring LJ on every time she's injured like we do. So she barely came back from injury, and she was rushed back, and so she was injured again. So at least in Chelsea, she'll have that breathing space. She won't have to basically carry a whole team and club on her shoulders like we do. She'll probably win more trophies along the way. I kind of understand why she wants to go there, but so if you also kind of take the emotional aspect out of it, and we look at how much, and we look at it purely objectively, I really don't know if LJ sort of fits with our style of play either. Like, she's not an out and out number 9. She is not an attacking midfielder. She hasn't played there. She hasn't played at 10. We kept on saying since last season, she kind of hogs the ball too much. She doesn't pass. She probably wouldn't be pressing for the whole 90 minutes. So is she going to take away Tooney's spot from her? I don't think so. Then does she play for us as a winger? And we saw her for a couple of games, and she was good there, but I think that was just a stopgap measure. And when Leah's back, I don't think she'll be playing there. So it kind of hurts. And I do think, LJ is still the player that I would have in my team no matter what, no matter the system, no matter the playing style. But if she's leaving, I think it's a really, really big thing for us. And we should be looking at, a really world-class player to replace her in the summer transfer window.
Namrata, you said a lot of things that I agree with there, and I'll bring that back in shortly. I do agree that I think she needs to be like. We had a show when we first started this podcast back in, I think it was October, November time. Who's going to be our best number 10 this season? And we put LJ kind of in that bracket because I think she needs to be on the ball, and she's very intricate on the ball. She can make some passes, and obviously she's got that power to shoot from outside the box. And I think she could potentially play as number 10, but as you say, Namrata, we're not going to lose the likes of Stoney from there or any of the other midfielders. So I don't think that's going to happen. I have been impressed with her on the wing. I must admit, I have seen. I thought she was great against Arsenal when she came on, even though it wasn't the best game at the end. But I thought she was good there. She came on and scored against Chelsea. So. But is she actually a left winger over the likes of Tobin Heath, Galton, Press? No, unfortunately, she's not. But then I suppose you could argue if she does go to Chelsea, she's not going to be first choice there either. So are Chelsea just buying her for the future, or are Chelsea just buying all the talent in the league and especially the English talent? Nat, just wanted to get your thoughts before we move on to the next subject. We spoke about Lionesses. Do you think she stands more of a chance being in the Lionesses purely because she plays for Chelsea, a top 3 club? Even if she doesn't get the game time, she plays for Chelsea, let's get her. That's sometimes the way it comes across in the women's game.
Yeah, 100%, John. I think she plays more. I've sort of said it. Look, there's a girl, Niamh Charles. She gets in. Beth England gets in, and they're not getting game time. So definitely, I think she gets that game time. I'm seeing people saying, about the position. Namrata said about, for me, I've seen Vicky sort of say she needs the free roll. But that's it, free roll, and she can do whatever she wants. She is the best. I've said it on the Barmiami podcast before. She's the best player I've ever seen in the women's game because she can just pick up the ball and do things. And I think that Chelsea goal, it showed she just picked it up, bang, goal. And it's something that we haven't got. It's something that we need. I just think it's looking like, that Baltimore people were saying, why is Casey saying her name? Why is Casey saying her name? You ain't got the money, you ain't got this, you ain't got that. Well, we've got the money now. If we, it's going to be a world record fee or whatever, that's what they're saying now. So I think go out and just splash it. I think get Bunny. I think rival City for Bunny. I think rival, get this Baltimore, get Katoto, there's another girl called Hayley Badger or something. But go and get her, go and get Laura Priskina, go and get these top talents that are out there that maybe aren't, the ones there right now, but just that can do it. Even get Beth England from Chelsea. She's not playing, so go get her and put her in there and get the goals because we need it.
We do, yeah. And Foot Fem on the screen too, and has that free roll. She definitely has it in the last couple of games. She has been playing all over the pitch, so. She does, but unfortunately, because she's doing so well there, I can't see her being dropped for LJ in that particular role. We're going to move on. And it's a bit of a sad story regarding LJ because we are massive fans of LJ. We know that she hasn't had much game time this season, but we know what she's capable of, and when she's on form, and it would be a massive loss to lose her to a rival. But of course, we have got other players, and we managed to get to the top of the league this season for a good couple of months without LJ, I guess. So it wouldn't be the end of the world if we lost LJ, but in my opinion. But it's just a sign that maybe we fell a little bit further behind the fact that players are choosing to go to our rivals. That would be what I think I would take away from it the most. We're going to move on to the blackout over this weekend, the social media blackout. Nat, I'd like you just to kind of talk a little bit about this. And obviously LJ is on the thumbnail for this reason, not because of the breaking news today. This thumbnail would have been made last night, but obviously LJ's been affected and a few other players have as well. But Nat, if you just want to start off on this one, and then I'll bring Namrata in.
John, we talked about this today, and we've just talked about talking about racism and whether this is the right thing, because I saw a video and it was Ian Wright and Alan Shearer sitting down, and they were talking about the messages that Ian Wright gets daily, but then he reports it and nothing happens to it. The guy walks out of court basically laughing. And I think people say, no, these media companies, but the thing is though, yeah, the media companies might stop it, but there's no consequence when you say sort of you N-word, you fuck it, we're going to kill you, and all this that they were saying. There's no consequence to it. So obviously people are going to say it. So even if they get banned from social media, you can say it, get a ban from social media, but you're still walking out of court, you're still living your life in freedom. And I just think it's bigger than social media. It needs to be from the government, the courts, all this kind of stuff. It's throughout everywhere. So no wonder it's in the sort of social media. And the thing is, what I see about it is, I heard Alan Shearer go, oh, I'm worried about saying something. Well, the thing is, though, it's not for black people or anyone else. And even Ian Wright said it back to it. It's not for black people to sort of educate the white people and make them understand. Because for me, the thing with racism that's happening, I've been a victim of it. And it's not you effing end this KKK. It's sly. It's subtle. It's things like, someone called me, I don't even want to say it, but it's like making reference to you, you know, gollywog and stuff like that, but like laughing about it, or, you know, saying you're aggressive. People might say I'm aggressive now, the way I'm moving my hands, the way I do this, but it's not aggressive. It's just me being passionate. It's me talking. You know, it's when you're having a discussion with someone, no, they're being aggressive. They're going to attack. You know, it's all these kind of little nuances, and it's stuff as well. You know, I found it myself as a black woman growing up. It's got worse since this whole Brexit movement. This is our country. This is Britain. It's that rhetoric that you hear, and I think you hear it sometimes even in games, and I don't even say it. And I think, you know, you hear, oh, he's lazy, he's this, he's the other, and it's constantly going at a player, you know, saying, oh, effing hate that one, but it's always you effing hate that one, and you effing hate that one. But who are they? Martial, Rashford, Pogba, even LJ, you know, lazy, this is the shit. And I think LJ has done really well. She has worked back, she has think, and that was her issue. But there was an issue with other players doing that, but it's always, she's the lazy one, or the black one isn't working hard enough. Why is it always that? Why is it always, oh, but she's fast, but she's this? It's never like, oh, the skill, you know? So I think there's bigger things. I get why they're doing it, because waking up every day and seeing them, I don't get that. I don't get a message every day telling me I'm a black this, that, and the other. So it must be horrible, because that's what they get. That's what Ian Wright's saying that they get. So it must be horrible. So I get it, but I just think it's bigger than that, because, like I said, the fans don't get that direct hate, but they get, you know, you do get bits and bobs, and, you know, we need to change it all, not just like, oh, this, and then we go back to normal, and then next minute they start getting the messages again. That's it. It's a robot, and yeah, the social media needs to change it. But for me, I don't care. Like, for me now personally, if you send me a monkey emoji, it's okay. It's when you make it something. When you tell me I'm wrong because I'm talking to you like this, and that's what I don't. And you know, when you want to have a chat with someone, and then they just instantly like, well, where are you from? What do you mean I'm from here? What's that got? You know what I'm saying? And that's the kind of stuff that we need to change.
Look, it's really disappointing that we've been talking about this season. We've been talking about it probably 10 years ago, even further, and it's in my opinion, it's getting worse, because it's all on social media now, as well as, like, before it was like in person. Now it's in person and on social media, and because it's on social media, you can hide behind avatars, you can hide behind fake names, you know, and they're getting away with it. That's the problem. So for me, I think it's got to come from the government. I think the government needs to put plans in place and enforce it on Twitter, saying, look, you must have every person who signs up to an account, you need to know who it belongs to. They need to put like some sort of ID of some sort. How that would work, I don't know, but it could be done over time. Or whenever you sign up to a brand new account, you would have to enter your details from then. So, for example, if I was making a racist comment now, and I was hiding behind another name, you could report it. I would get suspended or get kicked off, and then when I rejoined, then I would have to start giving my details over, just like you would do on Ladbrokes or other gambling sites or whatever sites are out there. You have to give some sort of form of ID, don't you? And there's got to be a way going forward. And I know it's a massive, there's millions of users on these platforms, I get it, but these players and these fans and everybody shouldn't have to put up with what they're putting up with, and not just racism either. It's abuse all over. let me bring Namrata in. I mean, what are your thoughts on this blackout? And there's just so much racism at the moment, and it just doesn't seem to be getting any better. And the more that it's highlighted, the more it encourages the nasty people to continue.
I think with the blackout, one thing that I think we can all agree is that we're not gonna stop racism in 3 days. That's just not gonna happen. And there are a few points that you touched upon. I think I'll come on that a little bit later. But essentially, this blackout is a marketing campaign. And so in my line of work, I kind of work with these things a lot. So I try to put on that hat and sort of see how or why the clubs are kind of doing it. Uh, if you check Twitter, the Manchester United men's account on a match day will tweet more than 50 times in one day. On a non-match day, it can be anywhere close to like 10, 20, 25 times. So in a course of 3, 4 days, you have like 100 to 150 tweets. All of them have impressions which go into the thousands, right? And all these social media companies, they use the data that we get from these users. They direct ads to them. They get money from a lot of brands and everyone, and they use that money to direct users from there. Uh, Now, what the clubs are basically doing is that, so out of all these 100, 150 tweets, you'll probably have one or two tweets maximum about racism. And let's say you are a fan who doesn't feel as strongly about racism. I don't know why there are people like that, but let's say you're a fan who doesn't really think racism is a big problem. It's very easy for you to scroll past such content. You can ignore that content. You can kind of be happy in denial that something that the club that you really love, the people who are connected to these clubs, they're actually suffering abuse every single day. But now when this campaign is running and we are conditioned to kind of keep on checking tweets, and in some of those manner, like let's say lineups are revealed or United score a goal and so on. So what they basically trying to do is now those 100, 150 tweets, which would have been posted on a normal day, now each and every tweet or the non-tweet is about racism. So if you're a fan who is happy to be in denial, now you can't really ignore that because you can't ignore something that doesn't exist. So it's just a massive awareness drive. It's the club's ways of kind of getting together and showing solidarity with people who are affected by it. Another thing is that at the end of the day, it kind of falls to social media companies. Companies like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, they have to put their money where their mouth is, and they have to tackle this issue right on. There are a lot of ways that you kept on talking about. I'm not really sure they're going to do that, but I really think that they can kind of treat these 3, 4 days in a very effective manner. So usually, let's say I'm working in these social media companies, right? I would be very scared to kind of act because I might lose revenue, I might lose these users, and so on. Now this is something which is already happening. So now I actually have data to kind of see what shift happens. So I can use that. So in the future, if now I want to run campaigns, or if in future I want to act on something, I have that information already available. And if you look at the club's point of view, I think this is a starting point for them to kind of assess how much would social media affect them if they actually really went really harshly against racism. So it's definitely a starting point. We're not really going to solve racism a lot. Most probably things will get back to normal, but it's probably the starting point for people to start doing something about it. Now, when you say that we probably want to have IDs for people who sign into Twitter, I'll just tell you, for most of the developing world, where all these companies are targeting users from these countries, I don't have to give my ID for any app that I have to download. Uh, a lot of people actually don't even have IDs. Like I think it's
Yeah.
very difficult to kind of imagine digital payments, right? Maybe 20% of people would have digital payments in a company, in a country, in a pretty well advanced country. But in India, it'll be like 5%, 10%, and so on. So they are actually going to lose a lot of user base if they go about it.
Yeah.
But for clubs, this is a way of getting together and say that enough is enough, and we are not in support for that. And if you don't get your shit together, we might take drastic actions, and this is like a preview for that.
I mean, Nan Martin made some good points there. Nat, do you want to just jump on any of them?
I agree with what she's saying. I agree with a lot of what she's saying. It is going to be hard because a lot of people have ID. Even in this country, a lot of people don't have ID.
If you haven't been abroad and you don't drive, you're a bit stuck.
And then, I mean, I know there's some, but then it rules out not kids, but I think you can use 16-year-olds, but we don't have ID. It costs money to get things, everything that's going on in the pandemic. But I do think there is a way. There is a way you can verify people. There is a lot more that they can do to get on, to create an account, give an email, give an address, give a postcode, stuff like that. Yeah, and then I know that it's all this and that. And if you give a postcode, give a state, give a location, yes, you can then make it up. But by having something, you can do it. And I just think as well, these social media companies, there was something about Brentford, or I don't even know, it's a man's team, they went about, they said, you need to tell us who's this and give us this date, and they're not giving it to the police. And I've had the police say the same thing for me when I got abused. They were like, it takes so long for them to get it, then these guys can probably make a new ID and they've already abused 10 other people. So I do think there needs to be more, but it's the government. This is why I'm saying I'm going back to the government. I mean, I'm seeing a comment before, and I just want to point it out as well. Naveem Tader, who said she got racially abused. Someone has harassed her throughout the Tesco, and no staff said anything. And this is the thing. I'm not saying it's not like people just see it as, it's just football fans and football fans. Listen, no, it's a thing that's throughout our country. And like I said, I brought up Brexit. I don't want to get all political, but recently our government had done a thing that said there's no such thing as racism. But there's no such thing as racism, yet we're having this campaign for racism. So it makes no sense to me. And I'm not telling anyone to vote for anything, but I just think with the rhetoric that's coming out, a lot of right-wing, Donald Trump, we all sort of had our feelings about him, but a lot of people supported him. A lot of, and I think people need to realise that this it's not just a football thing. It's getting bigger. It's getting worse in the whole world. And, there's people, me, I'm a mixed race woman, so my dad's black, my mum's white, and that was a long time ago. I was born in 92, but they were together before that. My people were worried, don't get together. But the thing is, though, I've still had abuse walking on the street with a white guy because I'm mixed race, and people think that this thing doesn't happen. And I think we need to have these conversations and say, this is happening on a daily basis to everyone. It's normal. And, I saw Kate, why is it normal? I see Casey crying, and I think to myself, I love Casey, it's not me slagging him off, but I think, why are you crying? I don't understand how you can cry and be shocked. And, I saw Alan Shearer reading that thing that, because Ian Wright said he got, black man, I'm going to kill you. And Ian just goes, it's what I'd live with, it's normal. And I think now what we're seeing is people like myself are just saying, it's normal, but why are you shocked? So you're not you, John, but like, non-black or white people, it's time to have these uncomfortable conversations and realize that this shit is happening every day for people like me, for people like Namrata, for all this, and realize that it's happening. So like when Navima says she's walking through Tesco and she's getting abused and no one's doing anything, that's what I'm saying. And if you see something, you think, listen, that's not right, but it's not my business. Not in a horrible way. You're part of the problem.
Yeah.
You're part of the problem. Because now it's not enough to just sort of go, I support you when it's happened. No. You need to, I don't know, it must be hard for people. It is uncomfortable. I don't know what to say sometimes, because sometimes I'm a bit like, yeah, whatever, just get on with your life. But
there's ways to do that.
It's gone past that. It's gone past that now, getting on with your life. Because I just sort of thought, I'll get on with my life. Some guy don't like me because I'm with I thought, fuck it. But it's past that now. Like, it's not right. And, I don't think a blackout's going to help. I hope it does. But it's, it's bigger. But go on, John, what are you saying? It's ways to do that.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say that everyone can deal with how they report it in different ways. So I don't think I'll be the kind of person that would start shouting back, saying, why are you saying that for? I don't think I'm that way inclined, but you could still report it to a steward if you was in a match ground or something like that, could quite easily do that, and then they can keep an eye on them. If they do it again, they've caught them red-handed. There's things that everyone can do at different levels. There's something better than what I'm doing now. And I think
well,
what
United have done is see it, say it, report it. So there's actually a website where you can go to now and just literally forget even going to Twitter and Facebook. Just go straight to United. And you know what? I'm so glad that they released that thing about Son. And I don't know if anyone's seen it, but it said, this is what makes me mad. Because people say, I've never been abused at Old Trafford. There's no such thing as, there's no racists in Old Trafford. There's 75,000 people there. Let's not be ignorant. Of course, there are people who are racist. Just because you've never heard anyone say the N-word or call them a black this, doesn't mean they're not racist. Doesn't mean they've probably not got this or just, inside. So what they've said is 3 of the people that abused Son racially were season ticket holders. 2 of them were members, and 1 of them's on the season ticket holder waiting list. So I'm not trying to slag off United fans because I think all club has them. The whole bloody world has racists. But let's not sort of, as United fans, go, well, it doesn't happen in our club. No. It's happening everywhere. No one's immune. Yeah, it's happening at Man United, Man City, Liverpool, like the whole Premier League up and down the country, So when I see, I know I'm getting a bit on my eye horse now, but you need to think, just because no one's ever said the N-word or said black this doesn't mean that there's not the racist in amongst you or this and that. And it's just like you say, if you hear someone, if you see, like I said, going for the same black players, maybe just say, listen, mate. Or if you don't feel comfortable, then go on the website and report it.
Yeah, just do something. Absolutely, yeah. We're nearly like 2/3 of the way through the show already. It's going quick. It's flying by. Now, Martin, there's a few things that we wanted to speak about, and there's a few questions that's been on our Twitter when I asked what's the last number. So we got quite a bit of interaction. One thing that you wanted to mention, Martin, was something along the lines of, I guess, like how important is Man United women to Man United as a club, or that kind of topic. And this is a great topic, and we could probably dedicate a whole show to this in the summer when there's no matches. But if you just want to touch on this one, Martin, like what your thoughts are on this, because I think it's a great subject to have.
Actually, I kind of came up with that. So I was thinking that there was actually a discussion going around where a few people said that what if we do not get Champions League next season? Would Casey's job be on the line then? So I got to thinking that how much would it matter to the club that they would actually fire a manager? So when it comes to the men's team, right, our club basically, it's run as a business unit. It's not really as a football club. And for the men's team, they want Champions League, not because they want us to achieve really big things, but because they want a constant stream of revenue. So even if we keep on qualifying for Champions League, but we actually don't win any trophies, they're kind of okay with that, right? Because we get revenue from that. Now, if you actually look at the women's team revenue, it's like 0.2% of our overall revenue, and even that is actually because the investment can be passed off as revenue. So we're actually a loss-making entity. Even if we qualify for Champions League, it's not going to make that loss into a profit overnight, right? So from a commercial or financial point of view, it doesn't make any sense for them. They don't really care about Champions League so much. So for them, us getting trophies is basically just building that United brand. They want to tell people, okay, we also care about our women's team, and look at all these things that we're doing to them. We're moving them to Carrington and so on. But when it comes to on-field success, are they really going to be as invested in us as the men's team? Because it doesn't really affect their bottom line at the end of the day.
What do you think about that? Because we're not making money, do they care? Now, obviously, do they care? I think that's probably a bit harsh, but I can definitely think that Martin's point. If it's not bringing in any money, is it just a thing there just because it needs to be there?
100%. I see Namrat's points. 100%. I get it. I just want to add to that guy. You brought it up, but it's a crime statistic, but it's important to report. It's the same with all through Twitter and Instagram. It's important to report, so keep reporting it. Anyway, but yeah, I agree. Do they actually care? And it's hard because then which men's team do you care? Because we're told, City cares, Chelsea care, all these teams care, but then they still were prepared to drag them through this ESL thing. So, yeah, I don't think any team really cares. You know what I'm saying? In that respect. But I think there's levels, isn't there? And for me, it's important that Man United win things. I've said it about the men's team. This team, men, women, is about winning. That's what Casey always says. It is about winning. And I know you brought up the moving them to Carrington, but then even Casey says she doesn't know whether they're going to be there next year. She's still, having these discussions. And I think we shouldn't really be having the discussion. She should be, bang, you're there. And I don't know. I mean, I think they're having discussions to hopefully stay there, but I think that could be a difference between getting Tobin and Kristen and then not getting there, because not in a horrible way. You don't want to train at bloody LSV. There's no gym there. There's no, it's an open field. You want to be training at nice training complex, you changing rooms and all this kind of stuff. So for me, let's get them in Carrington and really putting money behind it, really, because like I said, if we lose LJ, Press, Tobin, they might not care, but people will be making noise. People will be saying, like what you said, but probably harsher, do you actually care? Why have you got a women's team? And that's what's thrown at us all the time. Why have you got a women's team? Why this? Why that? So they've done it right up to this point. It's just, for me, I think a lot of people as well, it's what they do now. They've done it all the way, but it was easy. It's everything that you expected. You expected us to come up. You expected us to finish. Fourth. This season is a disappointment, but it's not a failure fully. It is, for me, like what Casey says, it's a failure. This is our aim and we failed. Bang. But I think it's next year. I think next year, if we don't finish, I think there's going to be more pressure. I think even you said, we're all going to say, well, why are we here? What are we doing? If we're not winning things, what are we doing? Because, I came here because it's Man United. This is what I've brought up on, and you're telling me all red, all equal. That's something that they put out a lot when they talk about the women's team. So if it's all red, all equal, Man United should be winning. The end.
We'll do a podcast at the end of the season about our thoughts on if it's been a success, if it's been progression, or if it's been failure. Just to add to this, Karen, I think now that the team's here, now that we have got a women's team, I think bragging rights more than anything. I think they want to say Man United women's team is best, because obviously when you're a part of Man United, you want to be better than Chelsea, you want to be better than City and Arsenal, and you want to be able to say, if you want to be able to brag to your rich friends if you're the owners, saying that, oh yeah, we're the best football club of this. So I think now that it's here, I think they want to win, but whether or not they'd invest that much money into actually making them making them big, because they're not going to make any money, are they? Let's put it that way. So it's not financial, it's bragging rights when it comes to people above Casey, I would have thought. We could continue this debate on, but there's loads of questions that come up on Twitter, so I just want to spend a few minutes talking about those. So Vix, who's usually in the comments, I think it's a different Vicky, so I'm going to say Vix from Twitter. She's asked Kristen Press's performance as a number 9. Now, this one's more aimed at you, and I'm right. You've got your theory on this one, which I know popped off a bit of debate on Twitter. What are your thoughts on Kristen Press as a striker?
I think so. I know where the question is coming from and why that exact question was asked. So I'm not really going to answer that question, and I'm going to come to something else that I would want to say. And I think so. What we have been led to believe since the season started is that from a section of fans on Twitter, that Kristen Press is so limited as a player that she can only play as a winger. She's absolutely useless as number 9. She doesn't do well there. Nobody from our team passes to her, which is kind of correct. But, it kind of implies that she's the kind of a striker who would always stay up front, and she would not basically get involved. She would need somebody to pass to her constantly and so on. I think she was really excellent against Spurs, and she dropped back. She tried to influence play. I think in terms of, because you've had so many players who are injured in recent. Okay, so if you'd asked me before Spurs, do I want to extend Press as a United player? I would have said yes, but only publicly, because I'm really afraid of the backlash that I would have got. Or if I would have said yes, I would have said yes because more because of the off-field stuff that she brings in. She brings in that winning mentality. She is such an experienced player, and she's had such a positive impact on people like Lauren James. But would I have wanted her to extend based on the kind of performances she's had this season? Edinson Cavani was brought for literally the exact same reason in the men's team as Kristen Press was brought along in the women's team. And I think in that sense, she hasn't been that great. And I'm going to be very honest with you. Uh, so basically, when I look at our team on pitch, when Press is there, I kind of felt like it's Kristen Press and 10 other players on the pitch. Against Spurs, I could actually see that they're really enjoying playing against each other. They kind of have figured each other out. And for the first time, I actually saw Manchester United women playing. I did not see it as Press doing her own thing and whatever. And I know there are a lot of reasons. People say that she's much better as a winger, but I actually think in the game against Spurs, she showed me that if she stays for another season, I would actually be happy because her movement was really good, and it seems like she's finally got the hang of WSL right now. So a lot of people, and everyone was happy, right? We all praised her. We said it as her best match in a United shirt. Casey praised her and everything, but still there were like a bunch of people who were still not happy, with Casey, who said that okay, today she kind of have to play as a midfielder. Like there's a bunch of people who would much rather Press play in any situation, in any position on the pitch, but the striker's position. But the thing is, she wanted to come to United, and in her interview, she said she wants to play as a number 9. And I think going forward, now that she has figured WSL out, she might actually play really well next season. We don't know. But before the Spurs game, I wasn't really that impressed with it.
How would you get the best out of Kristen Press then? Because me and Natalie's had conversations on YouTube and away from YouTube. We know how good Kristen's been in the past. We know that she could quite easily come good and bang in loads of goals next season. It's not worked out this season for a number of reasons. A bit of a stop-start season as well, I don't think has helped her. Would you like to see a change of formation then, Marta, or just her being like maybe a squad player more than a starting 11? Or how do you think that we can kind of make Kristen Press fulfill her potential at United? Is there even a way of doing that, do you think?
To be honest, I don't really know Kristen Press before she came to United. I have kind of only followed her in US Women's National Team, and there the quality of players that they have are far superior to what we have. So it's not the same system. We're not going to have those kind of players even next season or maybe 2 seasons down the line. So it's very difficult to judge from that. But if you look at before everyone got injured, Press exactly wasn't the first choice. Russo was the first choice for striker. Casey will always start Leah. If she has to start her at goal, she will start her at goal, but she will always start Leah, right?
Yeah.
So she's definitely not displacing Leah unless she has like a stinker next season. She's not replacing Tobin right now on the kind of form she had. So she'll probably be dropping out on bench, or she will be rotating with Russo once again. So again, I'm not really sure, but I think what she brings to the team is that her movement is really good. She kind of draws defenders towards her. She kind of gets the wingers involved in the play, and I think she's slowly hitting her stride. And I really hope that if she does extend with us, she can. Who knows? Maybe she becomes our new left wing choice going forward, and Leah actually plays at, like, I don't know, GK or something.
Not competition, but go on, Natalie. Go on. You want to sound this one?
Listen, Press came in and said, I'm a 9. Tobin's come in and said, I'll play where I want to play. They've come in and said things like, this is why we love Casey. We joined because of Casey. And the thing is, Tobin said, Casey, she didn't sort of pander to me and say, oh, you're the best player in the world and you've won 2 gold medals. She said, this is how I see you fitting in my team. This is the way I play. Do you want to do it or not? So this is what people don't understand. Do you think that they didn't have options? They had the whole bloody WSL looking at them. And Casey would have said, I need a 9, because I've got Leah, the best left winger. So that's that. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like she came in with her eyes, hands tied behind her back, a blindfold on, not knowing what she was going to be doing. And this is what I don't understand, how they can sort of sit there and say, oh, some people can sit there and say, oh, Casey's condos, Casey's done this, Casey's mistreating, and I just think to myself, have a day off. Have a day off. Yeah. When the whole fan base is sat there and said, wow, that was amazing. Player of the match. I mean, I thought Stoney was player of the match, but we sat there and said, if it's press, it's press. You know, fair play. No one disagreed. Everyone was singing the praises. Casey was singing the praises. And then some people were criticising. The girl got, I'd say, pre-assist because she played it off, and that was a brilliant movement, and they've shown that goal. They're bigging up that goal, the way that she was dropping deep and linking up. And she even said, I loved it. I loved that games when I can get in, and she looks strong. And I think we're seeing the best now. And I said, I've always said it, John, what have I always said? I've always said, it's going to take time. There's no shame in it. You need to adapt. This is not like, this is strong physical league. It's not like you're going to have bare space and do this and do that. They're going to be on her. They're going to stick it on her. And I think, in a way, she's better there for us doing that, because when I've seen her on the left for US women, and only have seen her a few times, but there's space in behind. There's lots of space in behind. And to be fair, don't get that as much in the WSL. The more on her. And when I've seen her versus Arsenal, people had excuses for that. But when I seen her versus Arsenal, it was one-on-one. It was a bit more difficult. For me, Leah's left winger. There's no doubt about it. If Tobin stays, she's the right winger. And, I want to see it. I want to see a battle between Press and Russo, I want to see it. I want to see, you need two players in every position, so let's go. And like Vicky just said then, the link up, Stoney and Press, beautiful. And, I'm seeing a lot more from Stoney. It's really good. People saying take Casey out for a coffee. Listen, if you try and I know people think that they're going to tell Casey about this. Listen, like, I've been seeing this woman since 2018. You cannot tell her anything, especially not no fan. Yeah. You can't tell her nothing. Yeah? She'll listen to people and thingy, but if you, as a one fan, think that you're going to tell Casey, this is what makes me laugh about some of these people. Oh, I'm going to tell her this. I just think to myself, you ain't going to tell Casey nothing, mate. Casey, if the more the fans tweet about something, the more she's not going to do it. I tell you that for nothing. Yeah? That's the way she is. Trust me.
Well, we were talking a bit about that at the pub last week, and something else that we mentioned and had a little bit of a laugh at was Ross at centre midfield. We don't need to harp on this subject, but that was very surprising, wasn't it? But one quick question you can answer, Nat, before I bring Namar to in regarding supporting United outside of the UK. There's a question from, I think his name's Atanu. Atanu.
Yeah.
He follows us a lot on Twitter. Thank you for the interaction, and if you watch this, thank you very much. Which players are likely to leave at the end of the season? For me, I know, just, we'll keep it quite generic. Me personally, I think we'll lose a goalkeeper. I think we'll lose a fullback. I think we'll be upset and lose a centre midfielder. And I think potentially two strikers.
And then we just talked about LJ, so it could be two strikers plus LJ.
Plus LJ, yeah. And then that's six. That's massive. That's almost like an overhaul again. And don't get me wrong, potentially we need it to bolster the squad. But then you've got to hope that everybody else raises their game or stays at the top of the game. And they come in, and the players who come in have got to hit the ground running like Russo. Not everyone's going to hit the ground running like Peter and Russo. So it's a massive step, I think, 6 big signings. But Natalie, what are your thoughts? Can you see that many coming and going?
Maybe, yeah. I can see a keeper definitely going. I can see a defender, one fullback leaving. In terms of the midfield, and I think we all know, I know you want to say the name, but I don't know. I'm 50-50 on that one. I can see there's people that are on the bench that aren't playing, whereas there's people that are playing.
Yeah.
So if you're on your bench and you're barely getting on, to me, I think it makes no sense for you to stay. Not in a horrible way. I think we need to up our bench players, because we look at our bench sometimes and the people that do come on and they don't change the game, and that's what we need, and we need more game changers. So I saw Absolute, that must be him.
Yeah.
It has to be, because like I say, at the minute they're not game changers, and we need game changers. And I think, you know what, when Lucy Stan came, I thought, she's not. Where does she get in? But that's what we need. That's what we need. We need people. Where do they get in? Because then you got the strength in depth. And yeah, it'll be that many leaving because, but it might not be it might not be, say, all first team players that come in, because I think for the first team, maybe you need 3 or 4. But then if you get 6 or 7, the rest are going to be boosting the bench in a way, or boosting the squad.
We saw it last season, didn't we? Like with Lisiana. So we said that we needed wingers, and obviously our wingers got better since then. Obviously, Tobin came in, Kirsty Hansen's obviously improved, and we have got more options there. And I agree. It's the players who come on need to be able to impact the game, don't they? And some players, obviously, we haven't had that this season. That's why we've slipped from first to fourth, where our main 14, 15 players have slipped down. Now, Mark, I know that you're trying to have a say in this one, but I want to ask another question, just because there's other people who have come up with questions on Twitter. Rahul has asked, and it's a real fair question, why are fans outside of the UK considered less of a fan? I was having a bit of banter just before. I don't know if Natalie heard me. She had a black screen at the time, but I was basically saying that I'm 2 hours away from Manchester. Natalie lives in Manchester. If Natalie's a better fan than me, it's not because of her location, it's because of the fact that she travels all over the world, supporting the girls. It's not because she lives in Manchester, because I feel that I can't love the team any more than I possibly do. But now, Martin, you live halfway across the world. I mean, do you find that offensive when people say you don't love the team as much as someone who lives in Manchester?
I'm not really sure I find it offensive. I think a lot of those, I don't know, I think if I could attend, if I had so much money that I could book a flight and back to Manchester for every game day, I would do that. It's just that I started following Manchester United years back, and I really relate to the club a lot. I do. I actually spend a lot of effort in the sense that, as you say, it's 1 a.m. right now, and I'm on a podcast promoting the women's team. I'm not doing that. If I wasn't a fan, I wouldn't do that. I don't really care about that. But I'm doing that, and so many people who are so many Asian fans. They wake up every day, every match day at odd timings. We kind of sleep at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. Then we go to work the next day. We go to school the next day. And I had an exam when I was in school, and I did not study for it, but I instead watched a Champions League match for us. So it kind of hurts. And one thing I would actually say is that when this whole European Super League thing was going about, a lot of fans from England, they said that, Super League will still go ahead because there are a lot of overseas fans who do not really care about all these principles of relegation and whatever. They really just want to watch the match, and they'll watch that. They'll still pay TV money. They're still going to buy merchandise. And it kind of came about as if, it's just the kind of fans who stay in Manchester or around who are the only fans. Now, I'm saying that what we say, we should spend 100 million for Sancho. You wouldn't have that if you only got money from the fans who stay in Manchester, right? And there are a lot of fans. If you look at in my Twitter feed, we have people who spend hours, making drawings of United players. There's so many people who are involved in creating social media content, especially for the women's team, and it doesn't really feel good. But I think, when chips are down, I kind of understand that the international and global fans will be the first ones to be targeted.
I want to go, John. Sorry. For me, I love Global Reds. It's all about Global Reds. I remember I'm trying to get more Global Reds. I want it. I love it. I remember when they play in Asia or wherever, and we have to get up, John, at 4 o'clock. I'm in my bed. Yeah. So you are up. I ain't up for no one. I'm sleeping. Yeah. And I'll watch it in the morning. So, the dedication from overseas fans is fantastic. I can't deny it. I just think it's like what you said about this whole, they're not going to care about the Super. And that's what I think they thought, That's what I think they thought. I think they thought that it's only going to be those UK ones that are going to care. But no, the outrage I saw from everyone, it was everyone. And that's where they underestimate it, because I think there is a connection between me and Namrata, between me and someone in Thailand, between me and someone anywhere, yeah, there's always going to be those fans, but I think there's always going to be the fans in Manchester who say, well, as long as I can get it on my Sky, I'm not bothered. There's going to be those fans everywhere that are still going to buy the shirts, that are still going to do that. And they could be in Manchester, they could be in India. Who cares? I'm not saying they're a problem, because obviously they just want to watch football at the same time. But the thing that I think gets people about it's not a slight on anyone. It's just, I think people in Manchester, and this is me talking as someone trying to understand, because I love everyone, right? I love people from India. I love interacting with everyone. But I think it's the whole thing that they did with the TV deal. And it's myself who wants to go and watch Man United, say, play Norwich, but they put it at 12:30 kickoff. And if Namrata, it's like 3 hours. So I have to get up at 3 a.m. And I get it, like you guys get up at that time anyway. But I think it's these kind of things that gets on the goat, because they'll put a game that doesn't really need to be at, a game at Wembley. 2 Manchester clubs are at Wembley, and they'll put it at 5:30, so it appeals to different audience. And I get it. You want to make it available for everyone. But I think there's doing that, and then there's neglecting your own fans. And that's what I think can happen sometimes with these super clubs, with the European Super League, where they just want to reach out to everyone and not look after those at home. And I think that's why there are people that will say, oh, I hate all these international Reds, because it's affecting them. But they need to then get together, speak to people, do this, and really put pressure on the club to think about people like me who will go everywhere, but probably feels a bit neglected. But it's not because of Namrata why I feel neglected. It's because of the people that are running the show. So don't target them, but it's the people at the club, really.
Do you want to jump in on that one, Namrata?
Yeah, I was actually going to say that it sort of ties with what we were talking about in terms of, so if you look at, I think in football, so it's not just a Manchester United problem, right? It's just a football-wide, people say that. And the reality is that people find it really difficult to accept diversity from different places. So they only want people like them who go to the matches or whatever. They consider them as the real fans. So it's a way of excluding people in a similar way that racism is kind of excluding people from your day-to-day life, or any kind of discrimination for that matter. And I do think that has some, maybe a little bit, but it does has some sort of part to play.
We're coming towards the end of the show, so I just want to get some predictions for the Bristol game. Nat, I know that you might have to run off soon, so feel free to run off. There are a couple of questions that we've missed out, so I'm going to roll it on to the next show. So I'll make sure that, because I know one of the chaps is in the comments as well, so I will have to answer those questions later. But Bristol, obviously, coming up next game, our penultimate game, if you don't include the FA Cup. We've come unstuck against them last season. I don't think we will this season, touch wood. But Bristol are fighting for the lives down there. Nat, I mean, what are your thoughts on this one? Obviously, I know what you'd like to see. We've had 2 good games. We've had 2 good games lately where we banged in a few goals. Can you see that happening again?
Same again, John. Let's not let up. I don't care, not in a horrible way, but we need to do our job. We need to keep winning. Yes, Arsenal are 3 points ahead of us. They're probably not going to drop. They're going to win the last 2 games. Let's be serious. But we need to keep winning, because for me, I think it's about taking this momentum, building it, and Bristol are going to be on it, right? Let's not beat it around the bush. They are going to be fighting for their lives. They won't give up. So we can't just sort of, be 2-0, all right, we're done now. It's bang, keep going. And I'm seeing Vicky saying 6-1. Yeah, that's the level. That's what I want. And, it's going to be tough. I think Ebony will score. It might even be 6-2. But I think we should be easily scoring more than them now. We've got Leah back. Yeah. Russo isn't playing. Press is on great form. Tooney's on great form. Hansen's on great form. For me, we
have to score, don't we?
There's no excuses now. You have to be scoring these goals. And I think for a lot of these players, maybe they're playing for contracts or something, because there's some players that they've probably been told, but, we need to do it. And you know, it's a make or break. Yeah, I don't hate saying that, but it is a big season next year. So if you want to be at this club and, you know a few players are on extensions, 4 or 5 players have extensions for next year, prove it, show it, do it. That's it. And get the 6 points and winning the FA Cup, and then let's win the final at the end of December or whenever it is. You know, for me,
we can still end this. Yeah, we can still end this season with a few wins, can't we? You know, we've had, like I say, we've had a couple of good wins, a couple more good wins in the WSL, win Leicester, end of the season, have a good transfer window, whatever. There's still ways where we can kind of salvage something from this season. Namrata, your thoughts on this Bristol game?
Yeah, I kind of agree with everyone. I think it needs to be a big win. But I keep on saying a lot of people benching 6-1, 10-1 or whatever. So before this, I wanted the 1 goal because I wanted Ebony to score. But now I'm absolutely sick of it. I don't want her to score against us. You know, I want to have that clean sheet going in this game. It's going to be a tough game because Bristol are fighting for their lives. And yeah, let's see. I don't think we'll lose, but I don't think it's going to be like a very good match to watch.
I'm gonna go for 4-0. I think that'll be goals. I don't know if there'll be as many goals. Potentially, if we get like someone said in the comments, Karen in the comments, if we get an early goal and we go like 1 or 2-0 up, maybe Bristol will kind of crumble a little bit. But I don't think it'll be like Tottenham, but I do think that it'll be a win. You'd like to think so. We're against a team that's bottom of the league, towards the bottom of the league. So these are games where we just have to win, don't we? Now, Martha, thank you very much for joining us. I know it's really late to where you are. I've been speaking to you on Twitter for a very long time. I'm sure Natalie's been speaking to you even longer. It's great to have you on. Thank you. And you're more than welcome to come back over the summer and discuss the transfer rumours and all this kind of stuff, because we're going to have loads of those shows. Me and Natalie live for these kind of things. So, yeah, really looking forward to that. So, yeah, thank you very much, Namrata.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Nat. Thanks for having me.
If somebody wants to find you on Twitter and talk to you about women's football, how can they go about doing that? Have you got, do you know your handle, your Twitter handle?
I don't remember it. I think it's Namrata_YDV.
Okay, you can find it on the All for United account. We've tagged you in loads. So, yeah, thank you guys for coming on. Natalie?
Yeah, you got it right, Nam. You got it right. Namrata_YDV, capital Y, but I don't know if that will, I don't think it will matter. I'm sure if you type in Namrata and you follow us, it'll all come up, won't it? Yeah, follow me, Natalie_17. Thanks a lot, guys. Yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, keep liking and subscribing and sticking with us. We've got the new channel. Get on that. Message me and John to subscribe, because that's going to be coming soon. So make sure you know when we start doing regular content daily.
4 or 5 shows a week. Yeah.
Got big plans. So you know, if you want to be talking about the women's team, just hit us up and come on. And if there's a topic that you think I need to talk about, that hit us up. You know, everyone can come on.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nat. Have a great weekend. Tune into our Twitter account on tomorrow, Saturday, Ben and Matt show. So that's always interesting. A bit more informal, but there's a lot of banter there, and you can have a bit of fun watching those two as well. Thank you to everybody in the comments. Please hit the thumbs up, and we shall see you again soon.